All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on Joe Rogan and the Joe Rogan Experience, leaving YouTube and other platforms for Spotify. Alright, so this one was brought up during the live stream as we were doing it last night, so I decided I'd go ahead and take a look from a couple days ago. Link will be in the description to movieweb.com, where they have the announcement that yes, it looks like the Joe Rogan Experience or Joe Rogan Podcast is going to be leaving YouTube and other platforms for Spotify in a $100 million deal. So, good for him, man. That's a lot of cash, man. $100 million. Wow, that's crazy. Now, I think it said over 10 years. Okay, let's go through the what it says officially here. And it's a multi-year exclusivity deal, but it's not going to affect creative control. Okay, so it says here, announcement. The podcast is moving to Spotify starting on September 1st. The Joe Rogan podcast will be available on Spotify as well as all platforms. And then at the end of the year, it will move exclusively to Spotify, including the video version. So that's kind of cool. So they're gonna have the video version on Spotify as you would usually see it on YouTube, which is where I usually watch it. I know a lot of people might be listening to it through iTunes or whatnot, but at the end of the year, it sounds like it's going to be only Spotify. Then it says here, it will remain free and it will be the exact same show. It's just a licensing deal, so Spotify won't have any creative control over the show. And then it says here, they want me to just continue doing it the way I'm doing it right now. We will still have clips up on YouTube, but full versions of the show will only be on Spotify after the end of the year. So maybe the Joe Rogan Experience JRE Clips channel, if you guys have seen that channel, will probably still have some highlight clips, like short clips of certain things from the episodes. But if you want to watch the whole episodes all the way through, it doesn't sound like based on the deal they'll be allowed to upload the entire show or the entire episodes to YouTube going forward in the future at all. But it sounds like the ones that are there are going to stay there, I think, based on what this says here. And then just in the future, the full versions of the show are going to be on Spotify. I'm excited to have the support of the largest audio platform in the world, and I hope you folks are there when we make the switch. So that says, since its launch in 2009, the pioneering Joe Rogan Experience has broken ground and built one of the most loyal and engaged fan bases in the world. Rogan brings his sensibilities as a stand-up comic to the show, and alongside dynamic and diverse guests, he fearlessly broaches far-ranging topics including neuroscience, sports, comedy, health, infectious disease, and our ever-changing culture, all with a mix of curiosity and humor. And I think that's about all that it says there. And then there's a clip from it too that you can watch through if you want to. Link in the description to the movie web page where you can see all the details and everything. So good for him. Good for the team that does the JRE show, and also good for Spotify. I think this is a good deal for them. $100 million, a lot of money, but is the Joe Rogan Experience the biggest podcast in the world? You could probably argue it. I'd say it is. I'd say it's the biggest podcast in the world. You'd probably have to look in the stats to see if that's true, or to see if any others kind of come close, or sometimes are able to get more listens or views or whatever. But I mean, if you just look at YouTube and you see how many views Joe Rogan Experience gets on YouTube, it's a lot. You have a huge influence there on society. You have a lot of people that watch the Joe Rogan Experience, and it's as powerful as as they say here, the infectious disease section, right? This is what happened, right? They had you had COVID hitting, and then almost right away they had the infectious disease expert on, what's his name, Michael, whatever his last name was, that was on the JRE Experience that said it was natural and everything like that. So you do have a huge amount of influence here. Now, how is that going to affect YouTube and iTunes and the others? Well, like I said, it's good for Spotify. It's good for Joe Rogan to get that deal. Is it a good deal for Spotify to make? Yeah, actually, I think it is a pretty good deal. It's probably a good deal for both of them to make. YouTube is not quite what it once was, I think, as far as the advertisements go. So I don't know if, what kind of revenue Joe Rogan Experience would do on YouTube, but I don't think it would be anything like $100 million dollar type of deal. I don't think it'd be anywhere near that just from regular YouTube ads, because typically I think the cents per click are about 2 cents right now per ad play. on YouTube. So that's not very good, for people who want to actually try to make a living off it. That's probably too low for most people. Now, if you get the kind of traffic that Joe Rogan Experience does get, then fine. But if you don't, yeah, 2 cents per click. So sometimes they'll show 2 commercials or a commercial, partway through a video or whatever, a few of them throughout the video, and maybe it's okay. But you'd have to get a lot of views to make a living off of 2 cents per click. So comparing that to Spotify just doing a $100 million deal over, I think it said 10 years or something like that, which would be, is that $10 million a year? Something like that. I'd have to look at the details of the deal. It doesn't say it on this page. But, I don't think YouTube would be able to compete with that. And then also, I'm not sure if he says here, I'll have to go through some more information. It's not on this page, and this is still new to me, so we'll go through a little bit more as time goes by here. But I don't think it says why he decided to do that, if it was just because they made the deal and it was a lucrative deal, so he decided to go for it, or if the YouTube censorship that's been going on lately has anything to do with it, with some different people getting banned. Of course, Alex Jones was one of his friends who was banned, a couple years ago now, and even though YouTube has allowed him to have Alex Jones on as a guest, I don't know if he got any pushback for that, or told he wasn't allowed to have him back or something like this, because he doesn't have him on that often, maybe as often as maybe he should, because he's quite entertaining, even if you don't agree with any of the stuff he's saying. I think he's probably the most entertaining guest that Joe Rogan has. At least I like the way the two of them kind of play off each other. It's kind of funny. It's like, I don't know, it's some kind of weird mixture of oil and water somehow seeming to work together to at least be somewhat fluid in mixture or something. I'm not sure. It's weird. It's a weird combination, but it's fun. I like it. So good for him. That's great. How will this affect YouTube, and will other people follow suit? And does this have anything to do with censorship? I don't know. Like, you have bigger channels like London Real. YouTube has kind of been taking a lot of their videos down, censoring them a lot. I don't know if he's aware of that, because he had Brian Rose on for an episode, so I'm sure he's aware of who Brian Rose is and what London Real is. But just the whole concept of YouTube ripping down people's videos if they disagree with the World Health Organization, it's very dangerous, I think, and it opens up an opportunity for authoritarian evil to arise when you don't have people to be able to question the official narrative and question what, if you don't hold the people at the top accountable, if you don't hold their feet to the fire sometimes, you open up a lot of opportunity there for corruption, and a lot of opportunity there for systemic evil to arise when people in powerful positions are able to go unscrutinized and able to do what they want, and then you have compliant companies like Google and YouTube, Alphabet, ripping down anyone who disagrees with their narrative. Extremely, extremely dangerous. A lot more dangerous than even I could probably make it sound. But I'm happy for him. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. If it did, I think that's great that he's gone ahead and done that. And I hope he'll continue to do, tackle some edgy topics. Maybe once he's off YouTube and that maybe he'll feel more comfortable to tackle some even more edgy topics and go into some things a little bit more without having to worry about censorship, or without having to water it down, or to hold back a bit when they get into some territory that might be less politically correct. So those are my thoughts on Joe Rogan Experience leaving YouTube and iTunes as well in favor of Spotify. Good for them. Good for Spotify and YouTube. I don't know, man. The censorship thing, man. I don't know. I don't know if this is what you want. I don't know. But, when you have people starting to leave, it sends a message. So they may have to rethink their game plan. They may have to rethink their decisions about, accepting authoritarian truth rather than truth as authority. So allowing the authority to be the truth rather than allowing for civil discourse and possible truth as the authority to take precedent. The way I see the world, truth as authority should always take precedent, not authority as truth. That's the way it should go for me. So hey, don't kid yourselves. The dudes at the top can lie too. They can mess around too. And if we don't hold them accountable, if we can't question their decisions, if we can't question their narratives, they basically have free reign to run rampant, and there's nothing anyone can say. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.